Hi, my name is BWatson, and today I'll be discussing the Rwandan genocide, and in particular, its media coverage, drawing on the thoughts that I had after reading Media Coverage, Activism, and Creating Will for Intervention in Rwanda and Darfur, written by our very own prof, as well as drawing on some of the other readings from this week. I particularly wanted to focus on the media coverage, or I suppose the lack of media coverage through the Rwandan genocide, and how, as young adults about to enter into the media industry, we should be critically reviewing this information and understanding that thorough research and proper word choice is crucial in order to accurately tell a story and maintain the integrity of journalism. So the reading mentioned that the Globe and Mail committed many crimes against media in terms of the way it collected and broadcasted its information. From listing stories in the depths of the paper to using false terminology to describe the conflicts, and what I believe most importantly, detrimental, the lack of the use of the word genocide. It's amazing how impacting media can be on people's lives, and many people take what they're hearing at face value. And as broadcasters, I believe we have an obligation to thoroughly research such events and ensure that proper terminology is used in order to properly and factually portray the events occurring in different parts of the world. I'm shocked and frankly appalled that the Globe didn't even use the term genocide and didn't have their own reporter on the ground to get information, and instead used newswire sources and muddied their information up and still broadcasted it. I particularly found it fascinating the way that the photograph of the white woman being escorted from the church was portrayed and captioned in the paper. It just goes to show like how manipulative the media can be in terms of the information it presents, and paints a picture of a story that's not necessarily accurate at all. Not only can false captions and photographs manipulate the public into thinking a certain way, but also certain use of terminology does as well. So words like tribal warfare and savage were used to depict the events of the genocide, and this is not necessarily accurate at all. It feeds into stereotypes associated with these people and just negates the fact that these are human beings. This type of insensitive media coverage is inexcusable, and it's very frustrating to hear about. BBC reporter Mark Doyle says that he indeed did get his story wrong, especially when he used the word chaos to describe the events that were going on. But he later corrected himself once he was able to do more research and get more accurate information. So he was only able to do this, though, by staying on the ground and getting firsthand information that was accurate to what was going on. And I believe this is so commendable, and he corrected the information. And this is the type of media coverage that we need in order to accurately broadcast to the world what is going on and to make a change. It's amazing to me the power that the mass media holds, and I question how much of an influence it had on not only those trying to get the information from the genocide, but also primarily the perpetrators of the genocide itself. Once the genocide was underway, both Radio Rwanda and RTLM encouraged the Hutu civilians to attack the Tutsi civilians. Romeo Dallaire writes, quote, "I had long been arguing with New York that RTLM had to be shut down, as it was a direct instrument in promoting genocide." So this is just an example of that once again reiterates the thought of how powerful the media is, and those who have control over it should be using it to inform and help and bring light to the issues of the world instead of perpetuate negative things. Alan Thompson continues this argument when he explains that accurate reporting about the genocide could have changed the behavior of the perpetrators and perhaps contribute to stopping the genocide, or at least slow it down. I absolutely agree with this. Like I've previously stated, the media has a strong influence and power over its audience, and this should have been used for the better in order to mitigate the events happening in Rwanda. Overall, I believe there needs to be less emphasis on glorifying the media and rather on making the true facts be most present and relevant to the reader or listener. This doesn't mean eliminate catchy titles and striking headlines, but rather make sure they're accurately researched. As a young person entering the media industry, I'll use this knowledge that I've learned and the mistakes I've seen made in the past to ensure that I contribute to the industry in an effective way that's going to depict stories and coverage as accurately as possible, hopefully serving citizens of the world in the best way that I possibly can, with journalistic integrity.